Hello and welcome to the last session of this arc of Godbound. If you followed us, then you'll know that they talked me into a third arc, which we'll be doing. It'll be the final chapter of this trilogy, which we will be doing in the last quarter of this year. But last time, we left off with them having arrived in a neighboring country to deal with a demon goddess and her demon servitors, and had some interesting interactions with the governor of one of these 7 cities of Shanxint. And they're trying to figure out what their feeling is about the situation. We're going to deal with that this evening. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. And that's an online gaming club that is affiliated with the sort of broader Gauntlet network. You can find out more about that and everything that the Gauntlet does at gauntlet-rpg.com. Hopefully, they've gotten us off this European blacklist for the website that's apparently just randomly we've got popped up on I don't know why. They are working on it. It's one of those things where you get a false positive and then you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get cleared of your false positive. So last time, the group, along with an entourage, arrived in Scalusor and met with the governor of the area, whose name is Magdros. And he had you meet with his general, who had lost her arm in a battle against 2 of these demons recently at one of the outposts. And there was general discussion, getting the sense of sort of what was going on, getting the feel for the sort of imperial rule here and all of that. And to remind you, you have essentially the crew of your ship with you. And you also have brought with you Unsawning. And you also have brought with you Legia and Crick. There are probably a couple of other, if needed, from the assassins, you can call them up, but that is your group as it sort of stands right now. So let's do a little like the 4 of you having a chance to chat before Tassos goes off to hover over the sickbed of the general, as has been promised. Just like a chance for a brief chat. We'll do that, and we'll kind of figure out where we want to go next stepwise. This is sort of after the big feast. Extra food has been sent down to your crew and so on. One of the things that the assassin that's with you and the assassin that remains on the ship is they check all the food for any adulterations or foreign substances or anything like that. And they will give the clear before that gets passed on to anyone. So Ransom, do you want to say anything to your compatriots here?
Well, friends, it doesn't seem so cut and dry, does it now?
So you think that we should leave the demon to it?
No, but I think we should find out what's going on. Demon is, at this point, just what our hosts are calling it. And if this is a rebellion, well, no offense, Threadless, but I would think you would be one of the ones most eager to hear what they have to say. And in truth, I never support people being oppressed.
All right.
Thoughts, Tassos?
I think it would be interesting to find out whether they gave her the name of demon or whether she took it on herself. It'd also be interesting to see what led them to rebellion.
If indeed it is rebellion, or Devi.
There's more here than meets the eye. And I would like to meditate a little bit and see if I can reflect on the situation and understand it a little bit better. But there's no doubt that it is important for us to meet this so-called demon and see for ourselves what's going on.
Tassos, I'm guessing your bedside vigil is a chance to look into what this general saw? Or am I presuming?
A chance to live through her memories and at the very least get a view of what we're going up against. Maybe even tease out something she didn't notice.
Very good. A wise choice. Well, unless there's anything else anyone has a thought on.
No, I'm interested in the idea that there's a sort of contagion of alliance. So,
I suppose we'll ride out tomorrow and have a chance to encounter whatever it is. Let's gird ourselves and hope for the best.
All right. So let's start with Tassos. Tassos, you can arrive there in the hospital. Sort of there is a wing for the more highly ranked patients, but you can easily wander your way through them, and so you can dictate her dreams. What's the one that allows you to read their dreams?
The still silence of sleep. You may dictate a sleeping person's dreams and nightmares if you can see them. Sort of. It's also a bit of the speaker in dreams. You can communicate with anyone you have seen before via shared dreams. They recall perfectly.
Okay, yeah, they can spy on their dreams, get an idea of greatest concerns, and learn on their location. She's not certainly your level, so I don't think that there's any worthy foe. I think like her dreams are concerns for her troops, concerns for her position. She's lost an arm. There's a lot of the metaphorical element of that popping up in her dreams. I think you will get flashes of the figures that were described to you as Pale Wren and Lady High Press. I think you'll see those figures pop up certainly in her dreams. And like whatever this goddess is, like the imagery that you get for it is a figure very much in the distance, fire behind it kind of silhouetting it, many armed, and some other figures nearby, one that sort of twirls and spins around like a top around it. But I think that's the general focus. I think there is a little corner that will please you when you see a little version of yourself in the dream. Certainly, you deliberately created a certain anchor of terror in here with your speech and manner, and there's sort of dread uncertainty about you and your companions.
Gotcha. As I feel her dreams sort of like skirting around the encounter with those two and sort of flitting away from it, I want to try and focus her in towards them. Did the two that she ran across, did they say anything? Did she get any like senses of them or any
See, that's a
reason?
different thing. Now you can dictate their dreams or nightmares, but you're kind of trying to draw their memories here. Like that seems a little bit different. Do you think this is a miracle to like use their dreams as a lens to read what happened to them?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
reach
Given
in
the
and
gift.
sort of like push it blindly rather than pull it knowingly.
Right. So spend an effort that'll commit for that next day. I think you will see these two figures. They're still, because it is dream state, it's still kind of distant, kind of detached. The pale wren leaps and moves with a speed. You can tell there's a certain judgment that the general has, like dismissiveness, in the sense that you think that pale wren must come from like a particular tribe or caste or something that is at the bottom. And so there's a little bit of that kind of fear, but
so not like a personal thing, like she knows her, but that she knows where she comes from.
right,
Has
there's
views
some of
about
that,
it.
like, and you can tell that the dress and all of that, the clothing that you're seeing in the dream is very much an exaggerated version of that. But the thing that'll strike you is pale wren moves and she has a bow, and then she picks up a knife, and then she picks up a sword, and as she moves through, and whenever she aims at someone, they die. She kills them.
Can I get a name for the group or faction that the general is looking down on here?
I do think that they are the, like they have the bird imagery of the wren.
Okay.
So you suspect that maybe even pale wren is maybe a deliberately taken on, maybe even a kind of a dismissive name.
Gotcha.
The real sort of fear comes when you'll see Lady High Press move through, and she's a noblewoman. She wears no armor. She moves through, and there is a corona of swords flying in the air around her, and Final Fantasy Advent Children style, like those swords are cutting a swath through the army. She has a blade in her hand, and she makes a beeline for the general, and you can tell that they know each other, and that the general is, absolutely furious. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely furious at this betrayal, and how she turn her back. And Lady High Press's attitude is, because I know you from old, this is all I'm going to do. And she takes her arm off in one swing and leaves her lying on the ground. And says, when we next meet, I will take the other one.
Can I get a sense if that was done and said with mercy or contempt?
Let's have you make a wisdom check for me.
Sure. Oh, right. Emotions.
Do you have any facts that allow you to really interact and empathize with other people?
Let me check real quick. Oh, let's see.
You've got a decent wisdom.
I bet
Yeah,
your 1,000 faces would work. 1,000 faces, 1,000 lives would let you have been other people.
Take a moment to put myself inside of it. Well, that'll take it up to a not a 5.
Okay. So you get
what
a
do
plus.
facts add?
So don't forget that facts add +4.
Oh wow. Okay, so a
And
9.
you roll a d20. So you roll the 4 +4, and your check on a wisdom is you want a 7 or better. So you succeed.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Remember, it has this weird changeover. I don't know
has
why.
a modifier and also a thing. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's like, I was thinking about this today, the fact people were asking about whether you add to a PPTA roll to help before or after. And I was like, and then there's legacy that does it both ways, depending on what level you're at. But
Well, cool.
imagine that clearly Lady Hypris thinks that she's saying this with a certain amount of mercy, but it is definitely with a greater degree of haughtiness.
Gotcha.
You know, this
Very
is
condescending, noblesse oblige version
Yeah.
of mercy.
The script writer thinks that they're trying to show mercy, but everybody at home is reading it the other way. Yeah. And I think when that happens, like certainly the pain and the anguish and stuff will kind of cut out, and the dream will just become kind of a collage of reactions and imagery for you. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think after I sort of like let her dream go through its chaos tumble and go where it's gonna go, I back out to probably a version of the ship rather than like a version of somewhere in the library or in the academy. But I make a shared dream space for all of us, and I put together like an imagery collage of the actual battle and what she saw up close, set against this background of the almost like cartoonishly overdone multi-arm figure in front of the flames and the several next to her. And I send across some of are we go like talking or thinking condescendingly about the Wrens and that little Wren assassin and the sweet smiling "I'm doing this for your own good" from Lady Hypris.
All right. So you set up a Neuromancer vision board for the group.
Yeah, basically.
And I think that you all will be able to get all of the impressions from that. Threadless. Yes.
Just something strange that occurred to me. Dan, do your characters sleep?
I think they must, but very fitfully.
Or would I like be
infrequently.
sending a dream to Evedro while Ordevi's awake? Or how does that work?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe part of him is sleeping and part of him is awake.
It's a little weird with you, but it leaks through, hopefully.
Yeah. So I do like the idea that the dream self of Ordevi is Evedro and vice versa for what you can contact. Threadless, sort of, we're taking kind of post that meeting, and anything you want to do before the next day, before it sets out. Is there anything that you want to do?
So it's interesting. So I suppose in my reaction to the vision board, so to speak, she goes, so this pantheon is almost entirely, how do you say, martial? For us, we have those as support powers. but this is very front and center. To allow them to persist means that there will be another pantheon that is particularly martial.
That necessarily bad?
I don't know. She goes, have you read the books about how the different pantheons dealt with each other? They usually fought over believers, nations, patronships. Certainly, if they wanted more power, we could expect, and she sort of stops and says, anyone who believed in us would probably be worthy of threatening. But that's merely a projection from what I've read. I did not have the extensive knowledge or education in past pantheons as our scholar.
Plus, a lot of those records and things from before times have been
Destroyed.
scattered and destroyed, either through incident or deliberate action.
While we may not match them in raw martial strength, knowing their niche gives us an advantage over them if we can leverage it.
That's what we're going to have to do. She goes, I don't want anyone we brought with us to get killed. And she's looking right there at like what Pale Ren is doing. And you can see, tink, tink.
And it's very simple. All we have to do is make sure not to fight them.
Very simple.
Threadless, you can certainly kind of, we talked about you looking at the style of architecture of this place and kind of getting a sense of that. And
yeah, actually, if there is anything that I want to look at, I probably want to get over to those aqueducts.
oh, okay.
And I want to get a sense of, what do you say, of their makers, of who it was, how they built this, because this must have been either a huge civic project, or it was some sort of supernatural building thing. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So
I mean, you can look at it and it has to be a combination of the two. I mean, that's the only way this could have worked. And I think the thing that will strike you is you can see how they've worked and adapted and added on to this. The country clearly has no idea how these aqueducts actually function, like how they actually work, because like you can see places where things have broken down and they've kind of half-assed the fountains or done other things, much like with the aqueducts after Rome fell, they kind of tried to keep them going, but they didn't know how to maintain them, didn't know how to clear blockages and things like that. But they're so large and potent that the things still operate, even if they are operating at perhaps half capacity. There's the loss is you're kind of like, oh geez, they're losing half the water.
yeah, well then of course I would fix them right there, those ones that I see. Then of course the fountain that hasn't been running at full thing for a while is going there.
Yeah. You probably spend your whole night fixing fountains around in different neighborhoods around
yeah,
the
and
city.
I've probably taken a Sonic with me, and we're like talking about it, and I'm going, this is so frustrating, and yeah.
I'm actually going to come back to you on something. I want to put a pin in that. I want to do Tyler and Dan, and then I want to come back to something potentially here. Avedro or Devi, this is Devi's hour. After you've had this wonderful feast, you've been told these things, you've been given this dream vision, anything that you are doing?
I feel like Ordevi would have tried to corner if not the governor, then one of his advisors, and sort
So
of,
you can grab a vizier.
yeah, a vizier, and treat him sort of like a anthropological subject, and sort of slightly interrogate, slightly interview him about his culture and and everything about sort of how the society works. My bureaucracy word also lets me understand what other factions or political groups might be at play here.
Just that discussion and talking with him gives you a sense that there is a strong civil service that the imperial courts manage and keep in play, and the civil servants are in a place for a time. They're given a certain amount of land or rights or things to provide them with their income, and the higher sort of status they are, the more they're given of that. But those lands and the place they get income are never the places where they are. So they can't build up any kind of hereditary thing. And there's very much the jockeying and moving and the redistribution of those elements to kind of keep that group in play. And that means that there's a very much a high sense of patronage. And, there are the noble families that are then above that have more rights and different, those sort of higher castes and relations to the main imperial family. In terms of the factions that are opposed, within the city, there's certainly a burgeoning merchant class that is sort of systemically kept from real gains of power. That's one group. There are also people who have been dismissed or have failed from the civil service that, but they have a great number of skills and training and knowledge. So, and a bone to pick with the imperial authorities. So they are there. There's definitely a faction of people in the city who would like to see the imperial system destroyed. Not many, because the very much the general feeling here is that the demon goddess will destroy everything. That's definitely the feeling that's going around. Does that seem like a fair set of kind of what's at play?
Yeah, that's great. I wonder if through my casual / not casual interviewing of the vizier, I also get a sense of sort of the bureaucracy that they have in place.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm mostly interested in what they're using to spread their propaganda.
Well, one of the things is there are clearly things with the Mundus engines, the ward engines of each of these cities that connects them all. And so they are able to actually, the people at the top are able to communicate with the other cities very quickly. And there are clearly departments of information, and I put information in quotation marks there.
Right, sure.
Set up that write things up and spread that out, and that have a network of informants and spies and people in the payroll, just to kind of, spread the word about the wonder of the imperial house and the danger that faces us.
I'm gonna spend an effort
Okay.
to remain sort of insinuated in the governor's bureaucracy.
Absolutely. The Vizier says, Vizier, like the shift is that he sort of considers you a peer, and to his mind, you're a cog in the civil bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And you can pick up the sort of the air and the knowledge of like how you have to act to move your way through there.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. That sounds great. Thank you.
Ransom, what about you?
I'm going to first. I'm guessing we moved quick enough that was it Nuandlau, the Bast woman? Yes. They haven't even made it to the coast of.
Oh, they probably
Jeez.
made it to the coast, but it's going to be a while before.
So I will have just looked in, seen they're okay, pull back out.
Okay.
But I'm going to go to the main mast of the ship, and I am going to turn into one of the wandering albatross, which I like it. It's the biggest bird in the world. And I'm going to kind of fly off, and using the rise of the air coming off the sea, get myself up to a pretty decent height. And I'm going to commit effort to do a miracle of my from my word of the stormblown swiftness, primarily so that it'll speed me up. It'll let me get up to 100 miles an hour.
Okay.
And I am going to begin at a pretty good high height. Begin flying over to take a look into the interior to see what I can see that's going on in there.
It is green and rich and woodland and jungle and farmland. I think from that perspective, and given the space that you're talking about, this is a vast amount of space to cover.
I will go ahead and hit my hawk eye then, so I can see up to detail anything to the horizon.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think you can see the detail, but I think that like what is it you want to know?
I mainly want to see if I could find a village that I know is behind enemy lines and look down into it to see what the people are doing there.
Interesting. Why don't you I think you can find a village probably at this hour of the time of the morning. People are getting up and farming, though you will see that there's a lot more attention being given over to defensive earthworks. You can see that there are young men and women who are called out to drill by what appears to be some kind of leader or priest that is training them in basic weapons and spears and things like that.
But they don't look like they're oppressed or being forced into anything. I'm not seeing an unhappy population under the whip, am I?
There aren't overseers whipping them to make them do this. No.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Does that seem fair? Like a fair answer to that?
Yeah.
But you don't know what the soft power and soft push that might be going on behind the scenes is.
Right. Cool. I think that satisfies my curiosity.
Yeah, and I think you'll see that at several villages. Like there's a similar style of those things going on.
Okay. Then I will circle back around and head back to the ship.
Threadless. About the third fountain that you fix.
Oh, I stop at a certain point. I'm not truly ruthless.
Well, no, this is, I mean, you do this doesn't take you very long, does it, to fix a fountain?
Mm-mm.
But at the third fountain that you fix, you will realize that there is someone observing you,
Mm-hmm.
and have enough of a presence that you've kind of noticed them. and they're staying back, and they're kind of watching. They have a certainly from one of the upper class casts, or certainly the more refined ones.
Mhm.
And he's it's like he's trying to figure out what you're doing.
Oh. Yeah, well, when I see him. And then I'll sit down on the edge of the fountain.
He will walk up. You see him keep an equidistant from, like, he makes sure he keeps his distance from unsawing.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And he will say, have you repaired the fountains?
These ones, yes.
How is it you know how to do that?
The pattern?
What do you mean?
Because the bones are there. The workmanship is there. And she sort of says, I mean, it's clear there was some divine gift in the design and in the layout, but most of it was carried out by mundane means.
You are not from here.
That is true.
So why are you doing this?
Because when a thing is beautiful, but it's broken, if I have the time, I will restore it.
And who are you?
My name is Threadless.
And what is he?
Oh, his name. And she sort of says, it's not mine to give. He is my friend.
I'm not a prisoner.
And he's not a prisoner.
All right.
He too is not from around here.
That is obvious.
May I ask who you are?
I am called Citric. I am of Felsingar. So they call me Citric of Felsingar.
Is Felsingar a place here? She would have studied it up just to know.
Yeah,
the major place names.
and in fact, like it's a very northernmost city state.
Oh, and she'll actually look to the north and she'll go, oh, you've traveled some way then.
Yes and no.
Do you live here now?
No.
Well, tell me what you mean. I am trying to be straightforward, and if I've skipped over something you need, you
No.
say.
No. I must tell others.
All right, that is a significant word, full of weight.
It is. We know why you've come, and we will see you soon.
Oh, all right.
My gift is cities.
Is it?
And you see him kind of start to walk backwards, and you see another alley of another city form behind him, and he vanishes back.
Damn it. Him, I would like to know better.
Yeah, you kind of see the interest, and you'll see he didn't seem that great, says Unsawing.
You could be right.
His hair is too white.
What does that mean?
Hair should be black.
Well, It
Tassos
is the
knows
most
that.
comely. Laughs. I think hair should be red.
Well, maybe your hair.
Well, you've got some of that, and she'll sort of twig the long ends there. So
That's different.
just decoration.
Anyway, we should. Do you want to fix another fountain, or should we go back?
We can go back.
Okay. So let's take up the next day in the morning. You're awoken by servants that are sent to check on you, to bring you, perfumed water and hot baths and all of that. I mean, once again, it's not even that the stops have been pulled out; it's that they've been pulled out and burned in a fire. They're really going all out to treat you with now every deference and luxury that they can. And Magdros will see you, and he will say, I have spoken with General Ulrika, and she is much recovered thanks to your ministrations, healthy, hale, hearty, and ready to take you along with the cavalry unit out into the countryside to hunt down these forces. Is there anything that I can do to assist you? Is there anything you require, or anything for your people? Do you need more servants? Do you need resources? What can our city provide you?
Says, can you tell us about the entire group that we're facing? I met one of them last night.
In the city?
Yes.
He seems mildly upset by that. Like, you can tell clearly that he believes that the Mundus wards and things should have stopped them from coming in, and he seems disturbed. He says there are 5 of them, 6 of them. There are 5, 6 of them. I've told you of Pale Wren. I've told you of Lady High Press. There is a murderer, a criminal who was broken free from his execution. And his name is Penitent 10. He is of other folk, peoples left over from the wars created by sorcerers and theocratic engineers. Some of the lines have survived, and he is of one of those. There is Citric. He is an outsider, someone who has traveled outside of our lands and returned, threw away his familial obligations, walked away from those. And then when he returned, he was made one of these gods. And then there is Tisteig. I'll type out that in the chat how that's spelled. There's Tisteig Descendus and Tisteig Ascendus. They are one, but I don't know how a person can be 2 people but they are. They're not two. It's one body, but two people at different times. And they are a succubus, an incubus, a seducing figure that uses the art of dance to manipulate and enthrall. I will put pictures in for those. Let me insert those. Where is he? There's that. And I'll put first Tistag Ascendant in here for you, or Ascendus. And then on a lower line, I will put the other one.
And I'm sorry, Lowell, were those other followers of the Demon Queen or other gods that he knew of?
Those are the other followers of the Demon Queen. Sometimes they've been referred to as orphans, sometimes they've been referred to as gods, sometimes they're referred to as just heroes in her service.
Huh. And Threadless, I'm guessing you told us that you encountered this figure, or did you not? You did.
Of course I did.
Remarkable. I will have mentioned to
And
everyone.
I add to it at the end, in a disapproving tone, he has white hair. Just because it was.
Oh.
I'm glad you understand. That always gives me hope for you, Ransom, when I hear things like that.
Black hair is the way to go.
100%. Well, not 100%, but a certain great portion of your hair should be black. Certainly not starkly all white.
I'll kind of look over at Evedro and I will have mentioned to everyone about my flyover and that they seem to be working to fortify villages and didn't seem directly oppressed. If you would be so kind, my first mate, Mr. Butters,
Yes.
would be happy to have you restock our ship. A listing of that will be given.
Did you bring a priest with you that we can set up at the temple to start ceremonies to honor you and your brethren, your pantheon, so that we may spread the word? Do you have a text that we should work from? What is it that we need to do to honor
Butters
you?
Can kind of tell you a little, I suppose, but I don't know. Evetro, have you written a text?
Oh God.
So many. But none about worshiping.
I think this is the point where we look over to one of the assassins, probably Bonchal, who's very good at sort of like taking on different roles and things like that. I think he could take them for a hilarious ride. So no, he's very considerate, I'm sure.
Have you gathered the cats as I requested?
Absolutely. My men have been throughout the night gathering all white cats from without the city. We have taken them from their owners. We have found them on the streets, and we have gathered them together in a building for you.
Perfect. I will go review them, induct those worthy into the Alabaster Order, and they can lead worship once I'm gone.
But they're cats.
Yes, that's why they're going to join the Alabaster Order. You could very well have a person in there.
I'm certain that this will all become clear to me. What do we do with the ones that are not chosen?
I don't know. What do you normally do with cats?
You should
But we
return
don't-
them
we sh-
to where you found them.
And if we do not have a record of that,
Oh, they know where they came from, surely.
if you say so, yes, we will let them loose.
They
That'd
probably
be
do.
impressive. The first chaos that tosses an axe upon the city.
And then every year it was the running of the cats.
My high festival.
It's the running is not the problem, it's the herding of them beforehand.
That's what they have to pay people for, so
Yes.
that's
Run free, Fluffy, run free.
So like Butters knows your worship, doesn't know the general worship, so you'll have to figure out how you want to do that, how you want to do that. I know that all of you have the ability to essentially go and anoint a shrine effectively.
Okay.
And if you do go to the temple, you can establish for each of yourselves a location that is marked kind of as a place of worship.
They'll pay for that.
Oh, they'll pay for that 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You want it in gold, they'll get it in gold.
Oh, no gold.
Let's take our first break here. Take 10, and then we'll come back and put you out on the road. Okay.
Awesome.
So I think we take up the next day with the group, the general there. You can see that she's a very good rider, but she's trying to get used to doing that with one arm. And that's clearly like she's adapting to that. She brings with her essentially her, I guess for lack of a better word, batsman or a second who kind of follows to help take care of her. And then there are 24 of these light cavalry people who have been fitted out in their fanciest regalia to attempt to impress you. You will notice that it looks like the regalia used to be somewhat different, but someone has gone through and removed all of the feathers from the regalia. And there seems to be some like word going around that you don't want to use feathers. You know, that's a god of birds. You don't want to.
I'll have to squash that. I mean, I don't mind them using feathers, I suppose.
It's a question.
I'll have to think on that.
Yeah. So what is your goal with this journey? What is it that you aim for? What is it you want to see here? Ransom?
Yeah. As we meet up together, for instance, we anticipate that we will encounter them and treat with them. As you say, Threadless, it may not be in our best interest to fly headlong into battle, despite my particular desire perhaps to test ourselves, but it may not be wise. Are we simply going out to scout the area, see where the battle was, and learn what we can? What do we think, Threadless?
I would suggest that we were probably under surveillance by them. So wherever we go, it could turn into a conflict. But I mean, my preference is if we meet them, that we don't meet them on the battlefield, that we have control of the turf, that we put them at great disadvantage. And
That seems very wise.
we know what their personnel are like. The city guy seemed all right, but again, I guess if you're a Godbound and you're wandering around and the only other Godbound you found are heavy-handed, you might still go along with them.
Vedro, what do you hope to ascertain should we encounter them?
I'll be honest, I'm almost more interested in seeing what some of the lower caste villages are like. I feel like we don't have a good sense yet as to what the people want and whether their instinct to rebel has actually given rise to this so-called demon queen. I'm not eager to meet them in battle either, but I am eager to see them so I can know them and understand them. But in the meantime, perhaps we can press the flesh among some of the villagers.
Yes. Tassos, goals that you might have for this endeavor?
I'm curious as to how the demon orphans, so-called, came by their divine gifts. If they're simply people like us that picked them up along the way and then came together under this demon queen, that's one thing. But if she is something that's going around and bestowing divinity on people, that smacks much more of things that we've fought before.
You mean the
fair.
corrupted storm and the like?
Yes.
Interesting. I guess we could look for that. The other thing is it may be that one or more of them are similar to myself, that they were created by their community.
That's
I
the
will
story you tell yourself.
I will say, however,
I do. I very much believe that my mother's created me, that they called me into being.
We all tell certain stories about ourselves.
Oh, Tassos, you sound so wise.
we do have this escort and the general. I will not let them be harmed.
Agreed.
So let's cut forward a little bit here. You will check out the fortress. You'll see that there's a certain amount of devastation there, but it's the devastation of a small shock force of extremely powerful people accompanied by elites striking and disrupting and setting fires and that kind of thing. I think that Ransom, your leadership is maybe a little bit of warfare, and I think Vedro, with your scholarly knowledge, I think you can see that this is not an excessive, like, divine assault, that this was done in a measured way. And when I say that, I mean that they clearly felt that there were some risks to them. And, because if they were truly super powerful, then they could have done this in other ways and so on. But you will kind of suggest to the general that you ride on, move into the land. It is picture sort of breadbasket China or even say Thailand or something like that, of a lot of irrigation, a lot of water, a lot of really different climates, even in a short span of places. And you will reach one of these villages still under the auspices of the city-state here, and people are nervous. The general feeling, some young men have run off to join the rebellion, and though some will correct themselves and say the demon goddess, seduced by the demon goddess, and others have been conscripted into the military. And you'll definitely probably get a sense of like, here is where we started to get to the lower caste, their limitations out here. Maybe see some echoes of other groups like the Wrens through here. Or Devi or Vedro, you are kind of making a point of like trying to read the people, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think you can pick up again. Now you're starting to get like, okay, there are 108 casts. I'm seeing this. Okay, here are these. These are markers for this. This is how this falls. You're starting to get a sense of that. A sense that there are, ethnic groups that are treated less well, that have a historically been treated badly, and you're getting a sense of that, and that the elaborate caste system, like they receive from the imperial households, like books that lay out the imperial cult, and also within those books, describe the divine order of things, the way of the world, in which the castes are, they're described as the way that this nation survived the wars with the gods, and the war and the warlocks and all of that God's war.
I would like to use, I think, a miracle.
Okay.
To disrupt the bureaucratic process.
Okay.
That delivers these books on the regular to these villages.
I think you can do that, at least for this region. You
okay.
can disrupt that. I think that seems fair.
And replace it with a different book, so that the bureaucracy makes a mistake and you get the wrong thing delivered.
What is the new book?
I don't know. That was as far as I got with the idea. I think it seems pretty innocuous, but okay. Maybe it's like it's sort of like maybe, I don't know, maybe at some point Threadless and I collaborated on sort of improved irrigation systems or something like that.
A coded philosophical manual of your beliefs and stuff, hidden behind some practical knowledge.
I feel that feels okay to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's certainly possible. Ransom, as you're moving around, kind of like getting in to say, there are troops that are stationed here, kind of, they are mostly to fall back and to send the alert up the line and things like that. But kind of surveying that, you will see one of these villagers come up to you and will say, are you the leader?
Yes, I have.
You command the general. The others seem to listen to you.
I am Ransom, and In my way, I try to lead, yes.
I have a message for you.
From whom?
Ask them to take you to Jorhinda and ask them what Jorhinda is.
Thank you.
And this guy will kind of fall back in with the villagers. And
Before he moves away, I will kind of move up to him. May I ask your name?
it's not important. I am simply a villager here.
That is not true. Your name is important. No one is simply an anything. You are a person worthy of respect, and I would like to know your name.
Kern.
Kern. We have come here.
And he also, like he says, his caste designation as well.
I do not need to know of these fallacies that have been placed upon you. We have come here so that you no longer have to be afraid.
Jorhinda. And he moves away.
Well, some of us came so you wouldn't be afraid. I'll say under my breath as I move back.
Tassa's like, your ears are burning. Somebody's talking about
Someone
the
is
removal.
just speaking nonsense.
And the
Unnerved, but not afraid. That's what we
general will say, it is late in the day. We can stay and encamp here. I would rather not travel at night, or if you wish to be, and say if we can fall back to a garrison.
Perhaps we could move on to Jacinda.
No. Was it to speak to the general or to the villagers? Just checking with what they said. I thought they said to speak to.
It was the suggestion they ask to be taken to Jorhinda.
Okay.
And ask what Jorhinda is.
Okay.
So more what Ransom was thinking.
Okay. I'm sorry. I
No,
thought that
no.
you were supposed to ask the villagers, not. So I was just sorry.
So let's go back. So Ransom, what do you say?
I moved about, and we have heard the name of Jorhinda. Could we perhaps go there?
There is nothing at Jorhinda. And it is farther in. There's no reason for us to go there.
Oh.
So you won't take us then?
I am here to be your guide, so I know I will not take you to Jorhinda. There are other places that I'm certain will be more efficacious for you and your companions.
I believe that is for us to decide. What is this place? Tell me more of it.
It's an abandoned city.
Why is it abandoned?
In the very early days of the rebellion, they attempted to forces attempted to seize control there.
And
the city was disrupted by the warfare, such that it is no longer habitable.
you're saying the city was raised.
There are many words for that. That may be a term that could be applied here.
How many people lived in this city?
And that does like she's like, I do not know.
Thousands, tens of thousands.
I answer you truthfully, I do not know.
I think we should go there. You do not have to take us. We shall see it on our own if required.
I will. I will show you the way.
Thank you, General.
And I think there is a sort of a general, like you hear amongst this village that you're out, like once that name is kind of spoken out, that like people get very wary and nervous.
I'll look over towards Tassos and I think I'll use a little of my leadershipy thing there. I think I'll say something in kind of a patois that maybe others can't understand, but that you can, Tassos. What are they afraid of, Tassos?
Yeah, Testos will sort of find a moment to fall back a little from the group and shift into the face of someone he's worn before around a different town. I don't want to go try and like get closer to people that are whispering or muttering about Jorinda, like follow that name around and see what the people of this town are afraid of or worried about it. See what fears it brings up.
Like they're worried. Jorinda was made an example. And there's this, they sort of mythically refer to, and I mean, this is a common story that's told in different things, the idea of someone or something getting too big for their britches, of like thinking that they were more than they were, and like amongst the village says that's why you don't make the village bigger. Does that seem like a fair read?
Tassos will come back and tell Ransom they're worried that they might do what Jorinda did, but a second example might need to be made.
Brutality. You have aligned with brutality.
So have we been riding on our way here or walking?
Riding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think as we pick up that path, I will like, take my horse up to sort of match up with the general. And
so we're cutting forward to the next day. You're headed to
that's
Jorinda.
okay, yeah.
She said 2 days, but it's clear to you that on horseback and riding, it's probably just a day away from here,
okay.
at a good pace.
I spread the good word to some street cats overnight.
Okay.
Yeah.
They will say that that's nice, but we get milk and we have lots of delicious mice here. That's our thing.
I come to deliver you from fear of the retractable claw. Juan Kisi, the order, has no power over you while I protect you.
Do not say that name here.
Juan Kisi.
They have eyes everywhere. And I think one of the things is that there are only a couple of like cats that can talk with you in here. Not all cats are like that, clearly, as you did. And I think this
I
is the
was
first time you
I was
just
sort of curious about
yeah,
that.
first time you
yeah.
just kind of discover that. Actually, you probably discovered it when you went to the big building of a whole bunch of white cats, and there were like 2 of them that could talk to you, and 180 that couldn't, and were pissed.
Yeah, there's a big running of the cats that first year.
Yes. So Threadless, we cut you off.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. So you move up parallel to the general.
Yeah. And I sort of say, I know this is nerve-wracking, but it's important that we understand where we are in the history.
You will our country is sustained through order, through the caste, and through the Mundus engines and the powers that are the coastal city states.
Those are powerful things.
There cannot be an interior city
Why is that?
because that disrupts the order of things.
But you have invited us here. And she goes, if we were to step in to act as the cult, we also would disturb the order of things.
That is not for me to say. You have been invited by imperial authority. I cannot speak against that. But clearly, she does think that your presence here is disruptive to the order of things.
Yes, she sort of says, so an interior city would, and she sort of stops and says, how is that disturbs the order of
It
things?
unbalances things. It is the 7 cities.
So there can never be an 8th?
No.
Nothing can ever change?
That is not what I have said.
Okay. I don't understand. I've not raised as you were.
And I think that like as you come out onto the plain through some jungles, you'll see some overgrown land, and you will see walls and to say this had been a city would be a very charitable read. It was the thing that you will note, the thing that is likely to be the reason for destruction is you can see that there are roads, that this must have been a crossroads and an interior trade nexus. But you can see inside ruins of buildings, and these walls have been cracked and broken in places. It is not much of a city before, and especially not now.
Vedra, what happened here?
Before I get to that,
Yes.
I would like to, I think I joined Threadless when they kind of walked up to the general, and I'm using my Truth That Burns gift.
Okay.
So I'm learning knowledge of them or their plans they least want me to know. Why is the general so freaked out?
Because the general believes this was an overreaction, the burning of the city, even as she did it.
Huh. Okay. Plot twist. Great.
And I would think you will see in the distance that there are just a small band of figures kind of through what's left of the gate. They're kind of standing high noon on Main Street.
Yes. So as Ransom asks me that question, I am looking at the general and I say, yes, General, what happened here?
The city was burned to put things back into the natural order of things.
You are using the passive voice. And I, despite being an academic, strongly discourage the use of the passive voice. I think I'm glowing brighter as the power of the sun wells up in me.
She will turn and she will say, grammatical smite. She can't look at you, both because of your brightness and because this, and she will say, we turned out the populace who had settled here. We broke their markets, we burned their buildings, and we cracked their walls. And we created a crucible from which all that we have been reaping came.
And what was their crime?
They made an 8th city. They disrupted the order of things.
I see 1, 2 streets, roads, barely, a handful of buildings, walls that you could jump over. In what world is this a city?
In the world in which I receive my orders from the emperor himself, and I follow and carry out my faith and my duty.
Ransom, does that answer your question?
It does. And General, I'm sorry, but today things have begun to change, and they never will be the old order again.
She doesn't say anything. Granted, I know with your hawk vision, you can see the 5 of them waiting there for you.
I believe that our counterpoints wish to parley. Perhaps. General, you should take the escort and ride from this place.
As you order, so shall it be done.
I do it for their safety. We shall meet you soon.
And she will signal to the others, turn her horse around, and you will hear a and you see this arrow go right into the back of the general's neck.
Oh, can we stop that? Oh.
Yes, can I do a luck thing?
Yeah, do you have a luck that can counter another gift?
It doesn't explicitly say
Yeah,
that.
that's a
does it?
miracle.
Yeah, it's a miracle. So that's it. And I think that's it. I will just go like that. Not that I'm doing that. It's just I want her to be able to leave with the knowledge of what's happened.
Yeah, I think you will feel that. You will feel the word of vengeance. And you will feel it whistle past. It cuts a slight, like just a tiny line across the general's neck rather than going right through her spine. And she will kick the horse into high gear, as they say. Let's
Maybe
take
Parlay was optimistic.
let's take 5, just because we're about to get into a bigger thing. So I want to take our break here, take 5, and then we're going to come back into it whole. Okay.
Cool.
So I assume that the 5 of you move closer. Oh no, Sonning is with you.
Mhm.
And Sonning, like, is looking at the city. You can see he's a little disappointed.
Don't be sad, Unsawning. The willingness to raise and break an entire city of your own country speaks to an insane depth of delicious terror.
No, I was hoping they would be more intact than I could break when we fight them. We are fighting them, right?
We'll see.
Okay. He takes that as a yes, by the way.
And Sonny, we'll find you a city to break. It may not be this one.
I'll raise my hand. We would speak.
And you will see Lady High Press steps forward, just as your voice carries with the power of the word behind you. So does hers. You can see they're not visible, but certainly in the air around her, she certainly bears the word of swords, and they are around her. Tassos, this is the first time that you've kind of laid eyes on these 5,
Mhm.
and you recognize one of them.
That's weird.
Yes. You've seen Tysidig Ascendis's face before. It is the face of that dead goddess in the pit.
Oh my.
And she will say, "Greetings, Captain. I am Lady Hypris." And then she does her, like, the full formal, like, of the 8th line of the 4th house in the first cast.
Greetings, my lady. I am Captain Ransom, Rapture of the Waves. And we are the Pantheon of Bashala. And I will introduce everyone around.
And how do you introduce Unsawning? I know everyone
I was
else has
just
a
wondering
title,
that.
but what do you say when you get to Unsawning? Unsawning is like looking at you expectantly. You've given these grand titles for the others.
Unshunning Dragonborn of Destruction.
And not a prisoner.
At the moment.
Definitely a prisoner.
Like, there's some, like, she like okay.
We would treat with you. Is this acceptable?
We're talking right now. But I think our purposes are clear.
I am not entirely sure that they are.
You wish to meet and deal with the demon goddess.
We wish to find out why the people of this area have chosen to follow her.
Then you will need to meet and speak with her.
I suppose that is true.
To do that, you must go through us.
Oh, that's sort of a shame.
It is a way of things.
It's a lot of the way of things here.
It is the new way of things.
Ooh.
Our goddess is the goddess of change. Our goddess is the goddess of enlightenment. We bring a new fire to burn down and recreate.
Strange, your cryptic refusal to say anything that you mean seems very much like the old ways of this kingdom.
We also intend to bring change, but our fire will enlighten. It will guide towards freedom.
As will ours.
Well, everyone wins no matter who wins.
Good. Then have at you. And they will move. I think you will see her, like she starts moving forward. You will see the penitent kind of moves off and does this as he's moving forward. Citric will like shift and kind of vanish from sight. And Pale Wren is drawing out like another arrow. And that young waif of a woman begins to dance. But you guys go first. So Threadless, let's start with you. We're gonna make you the kickoff for this.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, there's two ways I can go. Do I want to do something resisted? I always hate that. Could go well, could go terribly.
I mean, D20 love you, right?
No. But in some ways, may as well start that way. I'll spend an effort to cast Blighted Luck
Okay.
on the lady.
Okay. On Lady High Press. Okay.
Yes.
So she will make a resistance roll to that. She will resist that.
I can make her reroll, but that's
Do you want her to reroll?
what does she have to roll in order to resist, I guess is what I should ask.
Their resistance to this is going to be an 8+.
So anything over an 8. So it's less than 50% chance.
Up to you. I will say that I think Blighted Luck, you know, it has quite of a cosmetic effect, but I think it will mean that she will roll disadvantage on any future saves throughout the fight.
Okay. Is it only saves that she rolls it on? I thought it was also attacks. I'm sorry. God.
Check.
That was, I could be thinking of a higher powered version of it.
Let me look. Blighted Luck. The world against you. Oh no, that's Blighted Luck.
For hit rolls and saves.
Yeah, so it'll affect both of those. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, because that was pretty much it, is I would like her to hit less if possible. So
Except that she is the word of sword.
right, I understand. Just like I'm this sort of bow, I can miss as well. So, but okay. All right. I can't spend another effort on it. I've already.
Oh.
Right?
You are going to spend it? Okay.
No, I said I don't know if
Okay.
I can.
All right.
Because I had to spend one in order to cast it at her.
Sure.
Does
Okay.
that make any sense? Because
Absolutely.
she's a higher level.
All right.
So
So you will, I'm getting echo from somebody. I don't know who. Sorry, just a little bit. There, it seems better. Let's come to or Devi. Now it is dusk, So are we or Devi or are we a Vedro more at this point?
I wonder if it's not abundantly clear,
I like that.
and for the first time ever, and I don't know why, he's sort of flickering between the two. Maybe this is sort of reflective of the ambivalence that he's feeling about this battle in general. I was going to use my purging noonday blaze
All right.
to commit effort for the day, and it'll suppress all offensive gifts of a single target for 1 round. And I'm gonna
Do you want to
target.
suppress?
I don't know. I think the dancer is kind of freaking Devi out.
Okay. Do they get a resist on that?
It doesn't say.
Okay. If it doesn't say worthy foes may resist, then what does that look like when you hit that figure with that?
This is a sun gift, so I think as the last rays of the sun are kind of dying out, one sort of almost miraculously punches through the atmosphere in the forest and the city and just sort of illuminates the dancer, and we see their gift being sort of suppressed.
And I think that light will hit them. And a little bit like you at that dusk dawn thing, they crash to the ground. And when they get up, they're a different person. But their gift, they are negated for any kind of offensive gifts for this round. Ransom.
I am going to commit effort, and I think from this, like from the ground around us, this mist begins to sort of swirl around me, and I think people can smell the sea from it. I'm pulling up Assault Spray Purity.
Okay. Which does?
I'll have it, and it will be able to dispel or automatically resist any single magical effect targeted at you or an ally. For the duration of the scene, the effect or gift cannot affect the subject you defended, even if it's applied again. So I'll get something will happen, I'll use it, and then that one will defend whoever it was against from then on.
All right. Tassos, what are you doing? Oh, I should ask you this before you go, Tassos. Is that on action?
Let's see. Yes, action.
Okay.
Commit effort for the scene. Okay, the action it itself is an action.
Okay, I just want to make sure because a lot of the Godbound things you can do and do other things. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's action. Yeah.
Okay, Tassos. You are strangely quiet.
Mutes all the mutes.
Yo, dog.
Tassos looks pretty upset and throws a very disapproving look back at whoever is standing in Ordevi Aventro's place at the moment. But they'll rush forward to God damn it, Tistag, and grab them by the shoulder and say, "Where is she? What have you done with her?"
And I think he leans in, and now you get up close. He also has her face. And you're like, what? And boy, does he smell good.
And as Tessus is sort of taken aback, their face begins to melt and shift into the screaming undead mask of Casabara. And they'll say, "This is not your name. This is not your place. I know where you belong."
He says, "You have no idea how this all works." Are you taking an action, Tassos?
Yes. The shifting was. Let me see. Hold on.
I think your shifting is free, right?
If I commit effort, it becomes an on turn that I can take for the rest of the scene. So I'll do that. And then for my action, I am going to stare at them and use Know the Fear Within.
Okay.
No save against it, but learn any fears they may have relevant to the Godbound's interest.
That they will not be able to show you their magnificence. That is very much the attitude, the sort of inhuman, weirdly alien response to that fear. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the correct direction to go is, so I'm just going to choose one and ramp that fear that they might not be able to get across to me in disappointment all the way up.
Okay. Is that does that have a save, or is there anything we should know about that?
No. Well, when at full force, the victim must make a morale check to act to avert or avoid the fear to the limit of their natural character.
Okay, so we'll, on their next action, we'll kind of take up the resolve of that for them. Let's start with the swordswoman. She will invoke that sword traveling, where she is up right by you, Ransom, and expend effort for an auto hit. Do you wish to you have the ability to negate that, right, with your...
I do. Yes.
Okay, tell me what that looks like. Like, she is up by you. These swords of all different kinds manifest around her in a corona, and then she is up and her blade is out, and she swings it at you with a precision that you have to admire.
And as she swings, there's this blur as I move, sidestepping as it whizzes by within inches as I just turn and with supernatural dexterity avoid it. The mists parting as I do.
And I think you'll see that when she turns around, her face is aglow. Her cheeks are red. She is like she's excited. And then Pale Wren will take a shot at you, Threadless, because you knocked aside her arrow before. What is your AC?
AC is 3.
Okay.
Always 3.
So she will hit, and she will do just that.
Oh, and Threadless, you might have, your dex does apply to these. You can't use armor or shields, but dex do apply to natural armors.
What?
If you have a dex modifier and you're getting your 3 from a god power rather than armor, your dex modifier does apply.
Oh, so that gives me, let's see here. That's a 2. So does that mean I have an AC of 1?
I don't know if that's the case. I thought with the Godbound stuff, it resets your AC to those things.
When you could check the easiest to look at, but I went in and dug deeper, is with the miracle gain armor or defenses. You get a natural armor class that becomes 3 for the duration of the scene, modified by dexterity, but not armor or shield.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so AC of 1, which probably doesn't change anything, but Mike.
Not with the 18 that she rolled.
Mm.
But you only take a point of damage.
Oh. And I think there's the thing, it's like she almost evades it, and then when it hits her, she's like, oh, I know exactly what you've been talking about there.
And a penitent 10 will stride over to where you are, or Devi, and says, please stop.
Please stop what?
Do not attack the others.
I didn't want this fight. Your sword lady and arrow lady shot at us. I had this brilliant Pantheon packing plan in mind.
I
Why don't you
understand.
stop? You stop.
Well, I am going to stand here and I'm going to stop you from doing anything.
I'm not doing anything.
Then we shall see. Then we will stand here and chat for a while.
Well, that's really what I like doing.
Okay. Yes, and I think you can see, almost like that woman has the swords around her, you can see this like corona of a shield around him, and you can feel that word of protection.
I thought you had the word of chatting or something.
He says, no, but that would be a good one.
I think so too. I feel like we have a lot in common, a lot of things that we could talk about. That would be really require far fewer sharp edges.
Tysic did get locked up, but we'll make that roll here for them. 20, where is that up there? We'll resist with the 17, the morale check, Tassos.
Wow. They're rolling quite well.
Yes.
Would a -2 stop that? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is up by you, and that is all he does, is he kind of bends forward, looks at your face, and kind of like, how do I put this? Like a snake kind of moves around you. And while he can't do any offensive gifts this time, he is certainly watching you. Ransom, would you please make a what the save is? Can I forget what the 3 kinds are? Can I have you make an evasion save?
Yes. Oh dear. Something awful's happening. Come on. Ooh, that's not bad. I rolled a 13.
Oh yeah, and your evasion save is like a 7.
Yeah.
So you will see the buildings, like the ruins of the buildings around you, like the walls come together, like they form into real walls, and then they shoot across the landscape to smash you in, like 2 walls trying to crush you, and you will dodge out of the way of that. That brings us up to round 2. Escalation die is a 1.
Did you just introduce some walls and you didn't let Unsonic break them? You just
Yeah, I think that is the
coolest.
follow-up is those walls come at you, and Ransom, and you hear as you roll out of it, I've got this. And he leaps over, claws out, and he will tear those walls out of the ground and fling them towards the horizon. Yes. And then he realizes that you weren't in there, and he's like, oh.
Thank you all the same.
Oh, yeah. Yes. not a prisoner. Threadless.
I look annoyed. Clearly, I would like to have just stopped this from the get-go, but whatevs. I'll pull my bow out. I'll hit my effort thing. That means that I have that whoever I'm going up against, and I guess it's this Pale Wren, the one with the bow, yes?
Yep. The goddess of vengeance.
Yeah, I look at her, I nod. I do the whole thing that I give her, essentially that she has AC 9 whenever I'm attacking her.
Okay.
Okay, and then I will fire.
Okay. Go ahead and make that attack roll.
It's a 6.
Plus 9 is 15, plus escalation die is a 16. And what's your base attack roll?
Someday I'll remember this, but we do this so rarely. Let's see, base attack is 6.
Yeah, so you will hit.
Mhm.
So go ahead
I
and roll your damage
1d10, yeah.
plus your dex bonus.
Oh, okay. Oh, 4. Not much. It's just like she hit me for 1. I hit her for 4. I'm like, oh.
Well, it's actually you hit her for 1.
Oh, well, 1 then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
Really?
that
She got a
two-
bunch of damage?
No, remember you
Oh,
check
no,
it on the
that's
chart.
right.
It's not read straight.
That's right. I haven't spent the effort to make it straight die for die.
Right.
damage. I could do that. It's cruel and unusual.
Or Devi, what do you want to do?
I've got I'm gonna use my instant disclose the flaw on the penitent 10.
Okay. He cannot do offensive magic or gifts. And he really does not wish to hurt you.
I empathize. All right, I will not attack him then. And I'll let me use my body of burning light, and I will attack the shapeshifter folks.
Okay, go ahead and
there or Devi.
the one by Tassos.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and make that hit roll.
I was just really wanted to avoid rolling one of these stupid dice. Oh, I rolled a 16. That was pretty
Roll
good.
a 16. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Which I think is a D10.
Is that red straight or is it?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So D10 plus your dex bonus.
Oh my! I
Look
rolled
at that.
10. Yeah.
So that is 4 points. This guy shifts into the way, and he will take 4 points, and like blocks you from hitting the other guy. And he does. It's like that is painful.
Oh, so penitent 10 moved.
Yeah, he's just like you. He invokes a gift, and he is a shield for his companions.
I see. I see. All right.
That is the hardest that I have been hit.
That is very, very kind of you to say. I've been practicing.
It shows.
Do you like tea or coffee?
I'm more of a coffee person myself.
Oh, well, when this is done, I brought some beans with me that we will have to try.
I would appreciate that.
Fantastic.
Ransom. swordswoman is up by you. She's engaged. She's like, you are a worthy opponent.
Thank you. I wish we didn't have to go through all of this.
I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Mm, 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 mm. If something says its own turn,
That
what
means you
is-
can do it along with your other actions.
excellent. All right, I'm going to do my own turn to do my talented beak.
Okay.
To go ahead and we'll see my sharp feathers start growing down my hands and my talons come out. But then my action
Mm-hmm.
is going to be, I'm going to steal that auto hit from her.
Ooh, nice.
So stolen crown, there is
Okay.
no roll.
Right. So let me give you the text on that, just so you know. Essentially, it is let's see, just the one, what is it called?
If I use it, she gets it back.
Yeah. Unerring blade.
An air like gotcha.
Basically, it's your current or next melee attack hits on anything but a 1 and does maximum damage.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. Yeah. So like, is she aware of that? I forgot how this reads.
I think that as I've transformed into this, we're sparring and moving it back, and I think I'm not attacking. I'm letting her do, like moving her sword in at me. But I think as she moves one, my talon kind of rubs against. We see a brief spark.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't know if they know it or not. I don't mind if she knows it.
So she will feel that change, and she says, "What is that?" Kind of steps, and like the blades are kind of moving along. They're kind of echoing her movement as she brings that blade. What is that?
Those that fight can always be stolen from.
Interesting. Tassos, what are you doing? You can feel that like the halting of that gift, like that's gone, and the dancer is kind of like now has its head back together.
I know more about you than you could imagine. Oh, damn it. Hello, hi. Fucking computer. I've fallen through your nightmares. I know where your missing parts lie. I know what was done to you, sundering, sharpening into a weapon.
That is nothing. That is a form. That is an old thing. I am new.
You are missing pieces.
I think you're missing pieces. 2 of them?
We're here to discuss us. I have seen the amazing impact of your presence. You think your little fragments can stand up to that? Then please try.
What do you do?
That's it.
Okay. They begin to spin around, and they are a blur around you, even as the wind whips up, and I need you to tell me what your armor class is.
A 10.
A 10. So the 19 will hit. Let's spend that effort. And they will do 5 points of damage to you. It's more that they kind of run their hands along and there's kind of this burning feeling as they do that rather than any kind of impact from them.
Base violence is so much beneath what you're capable of. This is nothing like what you can do.
Threadless, you're going to get shot at. Your AC is 3. So she
It's 1.
1, that's right. So she will bounce, leaps, and flies up behind you. You hit her last time, but she doesn't invoke a gift. But she will shoot at you, and it will go past you and kind of crack the ground when it hits there.
Okay.
Lady Hypris will make a swing at you. You see her do this, like put the sword back in the air and grabs up another one out of the air and will swing at you, Ransom. What is your AC?
0.
0. Okay. So, and she's got a plus that. That one will miss.
Woo!
And there is that thing when she brings that down, she does a slice that goes about 20 feet along the ground. When it hits there, kind of cracks onto that. Let's see what I think you will see. And Sonic's kind of been looking around and he looks at you, Ransom, and he goes, "Got him." And you will see him leap into a section of the city, and you'll start seeing sections of walls go flying. And
Good lad.
It's like he's chasing after the city guy right now.
Take that, architecture.
I make a pout.
Pennington 10 says, so we could continue this on, or we could just step off the battlefield and just come over here. I don't know. The problem is that this is my duty, but I know that your duty is to attack your fellow, to help them and attack others.
We all have these things, these roles we need to play.
They are burdens.
It is true. Burdens is exactly the word I was thinking of. What are we then at an impasse? We have these responsibilities, the obligation to our brethren, and yet a commitment to a greater good of coffee, honestly.
Quite honestly, yes.
It is a conundrum.
My suggestion to you is that you unleash your attacks on me.
Interesting. And what will that do?
Well, I will be able to carry out my role and you'll be able to carry out your role, and we will both feel that we have satisfactorily carried out our actions in this fight.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Wait a minute. Do you have one of these things where it'll sort of bounce off of you and hit me again?
No, because that would cause harm to you.
Oh. So is your shtick that you just don't cause harm, you only absorb it?
I protect others. As your words undoubtedly have greater meaning, I protect in the literal and the abstract.
That was fascinating. Lowell, would you consider their pantheon a bureaucracy?
Oh, interesting. I think you could do it, but I think this is a worthy foe, so we would have to make a save if you want to invoke that.
I would love to try.
Okay. Then I will roll a save for them. This fucking roller. So yeah, you will kind of reach in and
Oh man.
extend your senses, and he will be kind of raise his hands. I don't know what you're doing, but maybe you should stop that.
This is not an attack. This is not harm. This is me trying to get to know you and your group even better.
Fair enough. Captain Ransom. And you will see this, like Threadless is sort of sighing and dealing with this vengeance attacker. Tassos is in some weird berate, a dark voice with this dancer. Unsawning is tearing up the city.
Good for him. I approve.
Oh, and Evedra's in a conversation with the.
Makes sense. Madam.
That's how I played sports when I was a kid.
Madam, will you only be satisfied with this tool?
Actually, yes.
That's a terrible shame.
It is
hate to
my
hurt you.
nature.
Well, a scorpion is a scorpion, I'll say, and as I begin moving very quickly and like goading her to attack. Lowell, I would like to hold my action until she attacks so I can respond and then then get back to top of the order.
Sure. I think that that seems fair. Tassos, what do you want to do?
Not really sure. Not particularly into fighting this person. I'm just
That
trying
seems
to
fair.
goad them into showing off something more impressive than slapping me.
Shall I have
totally
them?
no selling any interest?
Shall I have them go and then you go?
Sure.
Okay. Would you please make a spirit save for me?
Oh yeah.
So there is this moment when they're kind of spinning around, and you can feel that you have the choice whether you wish to join in or not, but they were clearly trying to force you to dance with them.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I am going to use Monsters of the Id. Conjure a monstrous manifestation of something that they're afraid of, not impressing me. And so I'm going to, let's say I summon a vision of Ascendus, since this is still Descendus, right?
Yep.
Who is dancing just beautifully and mesmerizingly, and I will go to join her because his dance is nothing.
Is there a save against this, or is it what is the effect here?
Let's see. No. It's just the only thing that the monster of the id can do is perform actions directly towards horrifying or harming. I'm not having them attack.
Okay. Okay. Let's come. That was Tassos's action. We'll do their actions and then come back to you. Let's start with the other ones and save our swordswoman for last. So this vengeance woman is going to leap off and kind of ignoring you, and you see her heading in towards the city. She's clearly going after Unsawning.
Do I have the opportunity to act then?
Well, I'm gonna do a kind of a set of rolls there on that.
Okay.
And
I
but to tell you,
don't think I went this turn, so that's
right.
cool.
Oh, did you not go this turn?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then let's resolve your attack then.
Okay. So as she turns to do that, I'm actually going to commit effort for the scene. And I'm going to use transmuter and essentially for the ground that she's on and essentially forward around her. Let's see, I'm level 7. So for 30 feet forward and to the sides and around her, I'm going to turn it all into a 10-foot pond of water.
Okay.
And just dump her into a bunch of water, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. And I don't think she doesn't have any movement gifts. So she will go right into the water there.
Okay.
And she begins to flail
Oh. And
because she's from an inland horse tribe.
Oh. Excuse me, do you know how to swim?
I think you'll hear. Let's do these guys that. You will see that there's sort of a path moving of a line of kind of destruction where you'll see like a wall come up and then you see the wall fly away. And it's very clear that Unsawning and this guy are kind of weaving their way through the rest of the what remains of the ruins of this city. This swordswoman will move to strike at you. So I will roll my attack roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that will hit.
Mhm.
And she will do 12 points of damage to you.
Okay. In fact, I will say, well struck. But before there were swords, we were still red of tooth and claw. And I'm unleashing her auto hit without a
Okay.
1. So let's roll to see. Come on, please don't give me a 1. I don't get a 1.
Okay. Are you doing a miracle to like make it read straight damage or something?
I suppose I could add a spite
Yeah.
to that. Let's
Yeah.
let's add a spite to that.
Okay.
I have the points.
Yeah.
And I'm fixing to follow up with something kind of cool. So cool. All right.
So roll a d10 plus your whatever your strength bonus is.
Yep. So rolling D10. Roll.
Oh yeah,
10.
like she hit you hard, you hit her back harder. She staggers
So,
back. You'll see a
11.
couple of those swords shatter in the air.
And as I love that she staggered back because I came up, and as I did, I went straight up in the air, having put my talons through her. And on my turn, I do the Raptor's Red Plunge, or the Beacon Talon Plunge, which gives me an auto hit to come back down and hit her.
Okay.
I roll twice to see the damage.
All right. So go ahead and roll your damage. It'll read on the thing.
Eh, 3, so 4. Oh, that's terrible.
Plus that.
You want to re-roll?
Ooh, that'd be lovely.
You get to roll with the same. You get to roll 2 dice because it's a single thing
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
with the reroll.
And with the spite, did that do what it? That went straight in for
That
damage.
went straight
didn't
in.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was straight damage.
7, then 8.
8. So that's 2 more points.
as
Uh,
I strike down and land in front of her.
and she will go staggering back from that. Like that wouldn't have taken you out. That 14 points. But she does like fall back, and you will hear, okay, please stop.
We hear that she didn't say it. We
No,
hear it
you
from
hear a
elsewhere.
voice, and like when you hear that, they all stop. Tassos, you're still dancing with the specter, even as this dancer stops. Or Devi, he will say, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, I think we waited this out just perfectly.
Good.
Yeah.
Look, he's still like he's still sort of nursing that wound because that clearly did hurt.
Right.
Threadless, do you go and get her out of the water?
Yep.
And you will see a figure up here. I will put her in the chat. She steps out of fire and walks forward. She bears a spear, a trident, and you'll see that she has spectral arms that kind of move in sinuous patterns behind her. And she will say, I am Sedenia. I am also called Zethera. I am also called Rufelza. And I have 105 other names.
One for each of the families?
That is amongst the things that they are for. I am the goddess of rebirth, change, and chaos.
We have been looking forward to meeting with you. May we talk?
Why is your pantheon here? Why have you come from Bashala?
The emperor sent representatives. They said that the emperor would make us the royal coat. They said that you were wreaking terrible damage and deaths across the nation. And so we came to see what of it was true and what of it was not.
You are different than the others that they have sent against me. The others did not ask. The others did not talk. The others did not repair and help. Mind you, the others did not mock. And she'll look at Tassos.
We all do what we're good at.
Gotta play to your strengths.
I am here to overthrow the imperial house of Shansint, to tear down the old ways. That is my purpose. These are my orphans. These are my daughters. These are my mothers. These are my fathers. I took them from where they were. I made them and they made me.
How did you draw the people into your cause?
I gave them hope and told them that they needed to do this. I'm a passionate figure of revolution.
I do
And
not
while
think we are-
I will not bring the whip to folk, I will tell them what needs to be done.
I do not think we are very different. But we bring change. We wish to see these people liberated as well. We do not wish to see people die needlessly.
What of the golden sigils? How is it that you're turning people to your cause?
These are marks that I grant for those who have favor.
They do not curry you favor from those you mark?
No, they are the marks of the worshipers.
And these
So-
others, where did they come from?
Which others are you speaking of?
I point to the 5 around the
She
battlefield.
gestures and she goes, they are from all over. One is a sacrifice. One is a criminal. One is a noble. One is a thing from before. One is an outsider. I have drawn them together.
And their power, where does it come from?
They are gods like me now.
Did you grant them this divinity, or were they born with it?
It is both. It is the way of things. Understand that these powers, these gifts, these myths do not always operate in straight lines. So we are joined together. And she'll turn to you, Threadless, because you were about to say something.
I think she stops and she goes, you are a goddess of rebellion. What happens when you have cast down that which needs to be rebelled against? Do you go and move on? Do you take your companions with you?
There is a time for rebellion and there is a time for construction, for establishment. We have many faces, and I will take another face if need be.
My lady, I think we serve similar purposes. There is no need for us to fight. This place needs change. And we are those agents. These people will be liberated. Let us do that together.
Agreed. But I have a condition.
It is.
And she'll look at Threadless. She'll look at Itzor Devi and Ransom. Her gaze doesn't fall on Unsoning or Tassos. She will say, I would join my pantheon to yours, but that will require a divine marriage. And I think that's where we're going to stop with this particular arc.
Woo!
Is that okay? Is that an okay point?
Mhm.
I mean, it was a very rude point.
You may, at this point, my friends, take that last 4 points of experience to take yourself up to the next level.
Woohoo.
Don't have to do it now. You can do it when we start again. I will remember, but that's where we're going to leave off.
Any new Dominion?
Oh yeah, I think actually I will give you 4 Dominion.
Thank you.
Given that the game actually wants you to have a lot more Dominion at this
Yeah.
point. So yeah, I think 4 seems appropriate.
Mhm.
I would like, so we are going to take up, so we don't need to do epilogues or anything. We're going to take up there. We'll probably some time will have passed, or we'll figure it out. We'll kind of maybe even love letter the time in between, but we'll start there. But I would like to do Stars and Wishes.
Can I request 2 minutes?
Absolutely. We're going to pause the recording for 2 minutes. Stars, Wishes, this session, general thoughts, Threadless?
This was super interesting to get in and essentially meet up with some other gods. They were kind of scary because they had some nasty words, but everyone did cool stuff and it turned out okay. So yay.
This came out of actually, I'll just kind of say how this started is I went back and looked at some of the themes and wishes that you all had put together in the first arc. And one of them was to find and face other people with power, with God words. So that's how that all kind of rolled out here.
That's cool. It worked okay. And yeah, it was sort of fun. It was kind of scary. It was not easy to place together what was going on. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the next arc too.
Excellent. Any wishes that you want to point to?
Let's see here. I think do really like the idea of that sort of thing of if in fact we're going to join these two pantheons in a way of like going, okay, what are relationships to the people who like kind of intersect with us? Does that make any sense? I mean, vengeance is, I'm gonna go, you can't use the bow anymore, or you know, or are we gonna be pals, or are we gonna be like, you know, conniving against each other? Because I mean, let's face it, pantheons can get pretty complicated, lots of drama. So this should be super neat.
Dan?
That was awesome, and I really just loved every second of that. I liked Threadless going around and fixing the fountains. I thought that was very in character and sort of like your happy place of like, okay, well, let me just go fix some stuff and then can figure out what's next. I really liked Tassos's cat collection. I just thought that was very vivid, and I could picture that warehouse full of cats. And Tyler, your description of attacking the sword lady was worth this entire arc. It was so that was great. So thank you for that. And Lowell, thanks for not making me roll the D20 too much, because I really enjoyed chatting with that guy.
Good. I'm glad. I knew it was going to be kind of a like put it an impasse, but I hope it was satisfying through
I felt very cinematic to have like Ransom and Sword Lady going at it, and me just talking to this other nerd there. So it was perfect. I totally agree with Sherry that figuring out how we reconcile these two pantheons is on my mind. Sort of like the merging of two companies, right? It's like, well, now we've got some redundancies here. So My other wish is I really want to put some pressure on Evedro with worshipers now. Like now he's ascended to a place where he's got some real responsibilities as a god, and I'd be interested to explore that in this next chapter.
Yeah, especially since now you put out some documentation.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, now we've got manuals, we've got guidebooks, yeah, we've got the whole 9 yards.
Patrick?
This is cool. This whole arc, but especially this last session, I really loved the weirdo group of other Godbound. They were appropriately twisted and strange. I also really like the nationwide superstition that is so strong that they would raise and break a city. That was really interesting to me. I also loved that interaction, non-fight between Ordevi and Penitent 10. It was a great break in the middle of like high stakes action every round, and honestly sort of gave me like confidence to stay on the path of like not just being like, okay, this is a combat, I'm gonna fight this guy. It sort of gave me a thing of like, okay, we can do weird stuff with these people, we can do social things with these people, and I like where that led with the dancer. Wishes, I sort of alluded to it a couple sessions ago, but on the very small scale, on the very small scale, I am interested in exploring Tessos's growing dream realm. But to connect that to a larger scale theme, like I am interested in what the other planes are, what the afterlives and the heavens and the overlives and all that are. You know, like every time I've approached or asked about that like night road that's under the library, the basic answer I've gotten is, oh, that's a dimension of infinite zombies. Don't ever go through night roads. That's not the sense I got from the book at all.
Right.
So I would like to explore some of those other places.
Awesome. Ransom.
This was a blast. I loved this fight, and when I see, you know, when you have Thor in the comic book and he has to talk that way because he's Thor, or young Loki who has to fool himself to do good because he's the god of mischief. He's stuck being the god of mischief. That's how he has to handle it. It was neat to see that we were encountering people who were stuck in their own thing the same as we're stuck in our own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the concept of being a god has the limitation of you are that god. And that was, we saw that here in neat ways. I thought that was really well done. Watching us handle people was really, really interesting. I was all about it. Stars to all of you. Your characters are so neat and intricate and beautifully done. Just love them. Cannot wait to play with them more. For wishes, I do want to see what, you know, the working out if we're going to be a pantheon together, but what we as a new consolidated pantheon think is best for this place. I'm interested in seeing what that's going to look like, to kind of open up the new arc, and guessing we will have some other threat in the, you know, in the next set, since we have a few things out there. I will put out, I still feel like that awful thing that we encountered the first arc, those kids with Tassos, that terrible what is creating other godlike things. I want to know what it was.
And after those credits roll, we see a grand throne room, and we see figures around. We see colors there. We see characters kind of moving around, and we will see the Vishant and some others standing there. And I think there is that moment when they bring this figure forward and push down our Nuan Lao. See these sort of chains of light that have her held. And I think the camera will pan up when we'll see a pair of bird cages, and we'll see the twins in those. And then we'll see the camera pan up, and I think we see the throne. We see the emperor of Niharik of that area. And I think we can see this celestial figure with its one burning wing and the other still its old angel wing, seated on the throne. And it looks forward and leans down and says, "What are you?" And that's our post-credit sequence for this particular arc. I am going to stop the recording